Alright, I'm back for an update on the 78. I haven't filmed too much, unfortunately, but I've gotten a good bit done. Just been here and there after work, a little bit on the weekends and whatnot, working around all of their family plans and whatnot. So here's what I've gotten done so far. Got most of the engine bay done. I still got to run the ABS module and get those brake lines hooked up, and then the brake line that runs underneath the cross member here I've got to replace still. And obviously this isn't pretty. Just trying to get it on the road for the season. I'll pretty up everything next year. Alternator wires ran, still got to connect that. I've got my EGT probe in under there. I've got to figure out something for the turbo outlet. I don't have enough room with the second gen radiator, so I'm gonna have to either build like a 4-inch section of pipe with V-bands to connect to the pipe that came with second gen swap. So we'll see if I do that, or if I come up with a different option. As you can see, I took the hose that usually goes to your heater core and just routed it up over top of the turbo and right back into the block. So we do not have any heat or AC in this thing this season. It's fine though. I'm not gonna drive it this winter. So just trying to get a couple cruises in before tear some stuff apart again this winter. Obviously I've got the hood on, inner fenders, fresh hood hinges. I still have to do a little bit of adjusting, but it sits pretty close. I gotta adjust that front a little bit. So getting a lot closer, that's for sure. Moving on to the inside. So I've got the G56 in. Yeah, comfort's coming second on this build. Downpipe for the second gen swap would not clear at all, so I just cut a big ass hole in it. I'll throw some sheet metal in there. Everything's getting covered with sound deadening anyways, so you're not really gonna notice. I got a couple more patch panels in the floor. I got one in here, one in the back there. Most of the wiring done. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with this gauge, because it sits a little bit above the dash there. So I'm gonna try and figure out where I can do some trimming and whatnot. Bed. This is the alternator wire. I still have to get a second battery. I'm putting my batteries in the front up here. Most of the wires are run underneath in here. I'm gonna do a second battery and then build a little box out here. I've also got my fuel cap going inside, so it'll be a little bit different, but got that just running up and into the bed. So I'm probably going to get a fuel door or just a piece of sheet metal, weld that in, fill that gap and smooth that out. Still have to throw the carriage bolts in the bed. Just kind of been moving it back and forth a little bit with all the wiring. So I haven't carried yet. Got the air dog on. Like I said, I've started the truck. It runs. But I haven't let it run super long because I didn't have any of the front radiator connected. I still got a wire in the fans. Throw the belt on. I'm waiting on the idler tension arm to come in still for that. otherwise it's moving along. My temporary tip-em bracket. I'll clean that up later. Still gotta mount the clutch hydraulics, and I forgot that the automatic engines have the heat exchanger that goes right. Let's see if you can see the right here, that bolt there. So when I started filling it up with coolant, it just started pouring out of there. So dumbass me. So I got a plug for that now, so we shouldn't have any more coolant leaks. Power steering lines are all run, but it is very, very tight since I did move the engine back. But we'll see if we run into any issues with that. I got my boost reader line all tapped in there. I'll run that through the firewall eventually when I get to more of the interior stuff. Trying to keep the 79 or 78 dash in it. So I'm thinking about putting my gauges somewhere in here where the old radio used to be, or even up in here or something. We'll see where I end up mounting it all. Because I don't think I'm gonna create a pillar pod for this thing. I think I'm just gonna kind of do it into the dash. Obviously this whole section I just plasma cut that out, and I had to raise it up a little bit for the G56 to fit. So it's just tacked in right now. No, haven't even ground it down or anything, so it's not pretty right now. And like I said, it's getting all the kill mat over everything, so it doesn't have to be all that pretty anyways. So I'll figure out probably next year for the heater core and the blower motor if I'm going to use the 78 stuff or try and integrate the 2006, because I have all of the electronics are here all wired in through the factory harness for the 06. So maybe I'll try and figure out some way to get that to work. I still have to figure out something for the wipers because they wipe down. So these bars hit on the pedal assembly mount. So I'm gonna have to rework the wipers now, because I would like to be able to see on a rainy day or something. If I do, it needs wipers and everything too. But anyways, this is kind of the current standing on the project right now. Getting close. Nothing super fun to film for you guys, so just kind of been knocking it out little by little. Hopefully you just get it cruising this year, and then next year we'll probably throw some bigger injectors and CP3 in it and see how long this motor lasts. Probably Mid-Michigan Mayhem, they do their burnout bash, so maybe we'll take it next year to that after we get some more fuel and new tunes in it, and see what goes first, the engine or the trans. So, but that's it for right now. Alright, well, I got some new lines for the radiator, some actual just bendable metal lines, a little bit better than the rubber with the pipe I had just thrown in there. We've got the coolant draining out of the radiator right now because got a little leak from this O-ring behind here. So drain that, and it's leaking right in here. There's an O-ring where it sandwiches to the engine block. Pull that off, double check that, thinking it might have just got squished or something when I put it in. Might have to order a new one, or maybe just center it a little better, I don't know. So I figured while I'm doing that, I could show you. I'm gonna pull in this kind of crusty old toolbox from the scrap trailer, where we kind of just throw all our shit, and I'm gonna clean up the batteries, wires still, fuel fill right here, should be easy enough to get to. And then I've got just a single battery for now. I'll wire in a second battery and make a little mount so they're not moving when I'm driving, but I figured it'd be easier to just use a toolbox instead of try and build a custom cap for it. So runs good, oil pressure's good. Rebuilt the turbo over the winter, that's good. So just get this coolant leak fixed, and then I actually had a belt tensioner on it with a belt and everything. It threw the belt and grenaded the tensioner. So I've got another one of those coming. Throw that on, and hopefully it was just a bad tensioner and old belt. If it does it again, then obviously know I've got some other issues. I've already checked alignment on everything. Nothing's out of alignment, nothing. The harmonic balancer looks good when it's running. Everything else spins freely, spins good. So we'll see what happens when the new tensioner and belt gets here. But that's pretty much it. Just another quick little snippet. So lots of little things left. That's standing point on 78. I'm gonna try and get the transfer case rebuilt and put in the next week or two. We've got 5K tomorrow, and then camping trip next weekend. So a little bit of time after work here and there over the next couple weeks. Get the transfer case rebuilt, and intercooler should be here. Try and figure out what I'm gonna do with the piping for that, what I'll have to have fabricated or adjust to get everything to work out right. Getting down to the last little bit for at least the first test drive. I know it runs. I still got to get it everything hooked up so I can run it long enough for hot retorque and kind of just overall check, make sure everything's good. And we'll get it on the road, do a couple of test drives this year. I'm sure I'm gonna have to replace, wheel hubs and brakes and all that from sitting for so long. Enjoy it a little bit this season, and then try and find a little indoor area this winter, tear some more things back apart, and make them a little bit better for next year. Try and have some fun with it. So thanks for watching along.